Hello and welcome to another video tutorial here on Virtual Music Tutorials. My name is Lars Eichstädt, and in this tutorial video we will take a look how to create a basic legato line using East-West Quantum Leap Symphonic Orchestra. So this video is part of a tutorial series I'm doing on East-West Quantum Leap Symphonic Orchestra. So in this series I will show you how to use this library, how to make it sound realistic basically. Feel free to check out the intro video if you want to, where I explain the basic concept of the tutorial series and how it's built. Yeah, and also feel free to browse through the YouTube channel and take a look at the other videos which are available there. Yeah, if you're new to this whole thing. For all the others, I just say welcome back and let's get started today. Yes, so today we will create a legato line. So this time we will reuse what we did last time. We will left out the violence part of our sustain line that we created last time and compose this time a little legato line using the first and second violence. Yeah, so what I did, I created an audio mix down of the basses, cellos and violas, and then imported it into a new project, and there created the two MIDI tracks of the first and second violins, and there programmed the legato line. But yeah, it's really up to you how you're doing it. You can also work in the other project if you want to. Feel free to do it the way you like. Yes, so yeah, one quick note before we will get started. Everything I will show here is cross-platform, so everything I show you here you can also do in other sequencer softwares. So here we will work in Cubase, but I won't use any functions that are specific for Cubase, so that anyone who has a sequencer program should be able to apply what he sees and learns here to his own program and apply the techniques I will show you to their own pieces. Okay, good. So let's get started. I'll quickly show you which articulations we will use today. So it's the 11V Q leg and 18V Q leg on MIDI channel 1 and 2. If you're unfamiliar with the whole play interface here, you can also watch a video I did on this YouTube channel here, where I show you how the play interface is organized. Good. Yeah, so these are the two articulations that we will use. I will also, as always, post the two articulation names on the Facebook page and also in the video description, so that you can refer to it if you can't memorize. And later on you won't be able to memorize because we will have a lot at a specific point. Yeah, so let's close this and get rid of the record enable option here, and yeah, here we have it now. Here's the audio mix down of our sustain line with the violence part left out, and here are the first violins and second violins playing the legato line. I can quickly manage it, that we have first and second another row order. Good. So let's have a listen to it very quickly, and then let's see how we can make this sound even better. So what you can see is that actually creating a legato sound using the sound library isn't that complicated actually. So using this QLEG articulations, which is a short form for quick legato, these articulations give you a very good foundation for your legato parts. And sometimes if you have a production where everything has to be very quickly and they need the soundtrack very fast, sometimes you can just really go there, program your part using this quick legato articulation, maybe adjust the velocity or offset the notes a little bit, and then just send it off to them. Sometimes if it's really has to be everything very, very quickly, sometimes it's okay to just do some small adjustments and then give it, send it back. Sometimes this can work. But here in this video, of course, we will take a look at hopefully everything you can do to this legato line to get the most out of it. Good, so the first thing we will do is, of course, offsetting the notes. So first thing every time you do when creating or when you get to the part where you make everything sound realistic, as good as possible, first of all is, of course, every time get rid of the regularity that you often start with when composing with sequencer programs, because often we often use a grid so that you can program the notes more quickly. When we now take a look at the violence part here, we see we have the problem that here these notes, they're all the exact same length as well as here, and this is not good actually, because as I already said in the video before, what makes or let's say the key for realistic sounding virtual music is creating all the little imperfections that humans are producing when playing music, because every human plays a little bit imperfect, very, very slightly, but there are some little imperfections, and throughout the series you will see everything you can do to simulate these imperfections, and we will maybe also see what imperfections actually are happening. So it can be quite interesting also to study it from this perspective. So so the first thing now is, let's make this a little bit bigger so that we can see it better. Get rid of all the regularities. So what we're going to do is turn off your grid or snapping functions, however it is called in your sequencer, and then start just adjusting the starting and end points. Like so. Only slight changes. This is very, very important. Don't overdo it. If you overdo it, then it can, at a specific point, if you overdo it, it sounds as if your string players aren't very good players, which trying to play the phrase, but don't really get the measure right, and it can sound really bad. So no, don't overdo it. Maybe to something like this, you should consider something like this or so as the real maximum, but don't go over a range of this here. We will see later on if this is maybe already too much. Always test, of course, as you may know it from all other tasks in music. We often hear phrases over and over again until we don't want to hear it. anymore. Okay, so yeah, let's close the first violence part and go to the second violence part, and here we will do the same thing as well. We will adjust the note lengths, and yeah, what is also important, don't offset the notes the same way in the other part, because when you offset the notes here the same way you do with the first violence part, then the notes are yeah, the same again, and it's another type of regularity then occurring. So what you can do is yeah, check the other parts. For example, I show you now what I mean. If you take a look at this note here, we just extended it a little bit over its length at the end and at the start here. So now we are going to take a look. We'll memorize the note. It's the E3. So we go to the first violence part and see, and here we see we altered the note here as well, like this. So what we will do then is now decrease the length here and adjust the notes like this. So now they are differently offset, and that's much better than offsetting them the same way as the other ones. So we make slight adjustments to them, like so, maybe here, and this should be it. Let's have a listen to the legato line now again with our first adjustments. And you may already hear the point where we overdid it a little bit, and there is this point here. Here the offsetting is too much. When we listen to this part here once again, we notice that here it sounds more as if the two notes are yeah, composed to really come one after each other. So we will take a listen to this here. So you hear it's, yeah, the notes are not playing somewhat simultaneously. They're too much offsetted. So let's take a quick look how we did it here. So we will take a look at the starting position at this time. In this case, so we see that we offsetted the notes in this way here. Let's close this part and go to the second violence, and there we see that here the note lengths are really yeah, strong adjusted. When something like so looks the first violence part. So what we will do now is we go in and adjust them more like so, so that we now have not such a huge difference anymore. So let's check this part. And we see it's still a little bit too much offset, so we adjust it again and listen again. Here we may hear it as well. We have here the same problem, so we adjust it here again. Like so, and now here at the end we also had a little bit too much offset. Let's listen to it again. Yeah, and this is something with which we can work. Good, so now the first thing is done. We got rid of the regularity. Now we will start using the velocity control, because here with yeah, the velocity we can adjust the strength of each note. So what we will do right now is using the velocity, giving our legato line its basic shape. So it's rough form. Let's put it maybe like this, or something like a draft, and then later on using automation we will really shape the legato line and give it its true life. So of course, when you start shaping the legato line, you should think about the character of your line, how it should be. So we go in the first valence part, and I thought that my legato line would start a little bit low, then fade, become a high point here, then fall again a little bit, like a little bow, like so, and then come back high again. So what we'll do now is then go in and start maybe somewhat like here. Like so. What we can do at this point, of course, is, for example, here now, to more really here, what we're doing here is mute the second valence. So we close this and mute the second valence, and now we can hear much better the changes we're doing to our first valence part. And then later on, if we got the velocity changes as we want to, as we got the rough shape, then we will just apply the settings we did to the first valence part to the second valence part. Oh, maybe I will rename this one here to second valence so that we don't get confused later on. No, not like this. So, second valence, good. So now let's listen to the first valence. We muted the second valence, so now we should only hear our mix down and the first valence. And this is also something we may notice here when listening to this part here at the end. It may sound a little bit as if the last note is coming too quick when we listen to this part here again. Maybe that this note here starts a little bit too early. So now, we have several options. We can, of course, adjust it. But in this case, we should every time, just check back the whole mix and see if it is noticeable. And actually, I didn't notice it when we hear the second valence as well. So I won't change it at this point, because in the final mix we don't hear it. So I'm not spending time to adjust it there to just see that we won't hear it in the final mix. So we won't, we don't want to do more work than we need. So let's zoom it that we have it all across the screen. Yeah, so actually I found it quite okay. Maybe we can make it too strong here. Let's have a listen again. Yeah, this is quite okay. As I already said, it's only a rough shape. Here I wouldn't send this version to a client because no, that's too rough there. It's more like jumps from one loudness level to another. But actually it's like I'm wanting it. So what I then do is I don't go in and copy the exact velocity settings. Instead, I somehow memorize the shape we have here and apply it to the other part. So we go into second valence part, and so that we have somewhat the same shape, but not the same velocity settings. This also helps, creating the realism, because then we also have little imperfections with don't using the same velocity amounts, make them a little bit different. This always helps if you have parts which are playing the same notes. We will deal with this later on, of course, in other videos where we'll combine different instrument groups together. But for your compositions, yeah, you can always keep in mind when you have different instrument groups playing the same notes, always give every group slightly other velocity values. It's sometimes just a subtle difference, but it helps creating the realism. So yeah, now we have our second violins set up. We close it and unmute them, and now listen to everything now with our velocity changes. Go to the beginning. It's listen. And now I noticed that this part here where the note comes too early, you definitely hear it a little bit in the final mix. So we go to this part and adjust it a little bit. So we go back with the offsetting a little bit. Second violins and the first violins. So yeah, this is an example, perfect example of overdoing. Overdoing. Okay, so now we adjusted it a little bit and close it again, and have a listen and see if it's not and see if it is better now. We have to adjust it. So now we go into the other direction and move it more to the right. Let's see. Okay, now it's at the right place, and now let's see if we can give it some more realism and see how far we can go with offsetting. Yeah, I think this is quite right. So for this tutorial it's okay. Of course, if you're doing your own things, you can spend a lot more time on also tweaking this little offsetting of the notes, and I also recommend spending time on this, because the more time you spend, the better it will be at the end. Okay, now before we will really start with automation, we will do something else, and it's a little trick I found, and let's take a look at this line, and we can see from the graphical representation that we have a few jumps in this melody. So here we have this huge jump down to this note here, and then we have this jump from this note to this note right here. I think it's the same as this one, and we also have a little bit jump from this note to this note. It's not that big, of course, from this one to this one, but it's a little jump, and to make it sound a little bit better, we will slur the end point of this note a little bit. So now what I will show you here is a little workaround, because for a strange reason here the performance scripts aren't working the way they're supposed to, because normally you would use at specific points the portamento performance scripts, which creates these slurs. But for a strange reason it didn't really work for me, and it doesn't really sound that good. So yeah, I've searched for another way, and I used now the pitch bend function that you have in the sequencer. So we will go into the first violins. Where is it? Here it is. Well, maybe we don't actually need it. It's not that much. Maybe we will do a pitch bend here as well. Where we will create definitely one is from this one to this one right here, because yeah, it's a fifth down. Hope that's right. So yeah, what we'll do then is change our controls from velocity to pitch bend in your sequencer. And then now we will create a little slur from here to there. So if I'm right, the middle here is the normal pitch of the note. So we go in here and draw in a little slur. Doesn't have to be that perfect, maybe like so. And at this point also, every time just experiment with how much slur you need. And oh, we always have to make sure that at the point where the new note starts, our pitch bend stops and goes up again. Because, ooh, no. Right, news. Like so, because otherwise this note will get a slur as well. And sometimes you're doing you can experiment with also giving this note a little slur from give it a down band a little bit. But now let's have a listen to this and see how it sounds. We will mute the second violins to hear the first one alone. Yeah, and it's not quite right, I think. I think it starts too early and it's a little bit too much, so we will delete everything again. And maybe just here, and also slide a little bit, and then go up here. Listen. And I think this is better amount. It's okay. It's a slight slur. It's not that noticeable, but it helps make the jump better. We can make it a little bit, really don't too much. Low. So, and let's see. I think this is okay, doing it like this. We can experiment maybe if giving here the note a little bend up and then down, like so. Let's see. Helps a little bit, not bad. I think we should leave it like this for the moment, and we go here to this jump, and we will slur it from here. So, oh, I see something that's not nice. This is here that we are. So pitch bend should be at 0 again, hopefully like so. Okay, and now we go here and slide it up some like so, and also slur it up like so. And let's have a listen how it sounds like. Very nice. Here we got a really good transition from this to this. It's now not a huge jump anymore. It sounds more organic, I think. Good. This is how it can work. And so sometimes if you see that it works so well, feel free to also slur the other ones slightly. So always, of course, take a look in which direction you are slurring them and adjust the pitch bend accordingly. So we were going down, and every time keep that in mind. Okay. So now like this, we made it a little bit more organic. We will do it here as well. I saw that it worked pretty nice here. Later on we will also see how we can use pitch bend in the percussions to eliminate a little bit mechanical feel, or when we have many notes in quick repetition, then pitch bend will also help us to excuse me, will also help us to make it sound better. So now let's listen to our first violence part with the altered pitch bend and see how it sounds like. And I think it's quite okay like this. So now let's see if it works with copying our pitch bend data here to our second valence part. I hope that it works. Let's see. Ah, it worked. Well, now I have to find the right starting point. Hopefully it works like this. Let's see. Maybe let's see how much are we too far. So I think when we start from here, yeah, okay. So now let's unmute the second valence and have a go away here. So, and let's listen to our legato line right now. And it sounds much better. Oh, here is something wrong, and here the pitch bend data isn't at the right spot. I see. Yeah. Okay, so the copying didn't work that well. So at this point it may be easier and faster to draw it in by hand again. So for a strange reason, I don't know how to... There, all right. Okay. Oh yeah, now I know what's the problem. We offsetted the notes, of course. So of course the pitch bend data has to be adjusted accordingly, but this is not a problem. We will adjust them accordingly, like so. Take our slur here to here. About here. Then here is the next one. And this is sometimes a little bit pain in the ass. Let's put it like this. To offset everything, and you see it's a little bit time consuming, but I just want to that you can see how I'm changing it. So basically, yeah, as you may see, what I'm doing is just placing the pitch bend at the exact point where the notes are changing, so that we have always this change here, that this line lines up with the note change somewhat. Okay, so now let's see. Here we can see now our pitch bend data now matches pretty nice with our notes, and now we should have a better transition. Yes, and I think this sounds much better. Okay, yeah, so let's recap what we did. We got rid of our regularity, offsetted the notes, and then added in the pitch bend to make the legato a little bit better, to create the little slurs that are typical for string players when they are playing between different notes, especially when they have such huge jumps that sometimes they create little slurs because of the finger sliding. So we created this imperfection, and now let's give the melody its shape with setting up the automation tracks. So I will set up automation tracks for each track using the expression control. So we will use the control code CC11. So at this point, take a look at your sequencer, how automation, how your sequencer does this automation of this control changes. I did 2 videos where I showed how to create automation what's that here? How to get the automations from how to do it in Fruity Loops, and also how to do it in Cubase. For the other sequencers, you have to see how you do it. So now I set it up the expression automations very quickly, and now let's mute the second violence and start with the first violence. So, and now we come to a little bit critical point, because now we want, with automating the control change CC11, the expression, we want to now give the melody its true shape. So give it the expression. A string player would give this sequence. So now what you should do, it always helped me a lot to get the shape somewhat right, is it may sound a little bit strange in the beginning, but it really helps, what you should do is take a moment and try imagine being a string player. So imagine sitting in the orchestra with the notes and your violin and try to think how you would play this phrase. It may be a little well, actually it is quite strange to do this, but for me it it helped me a lot. And to further get a feeling how string players are playing different phrases, it always helps, of course, to listen to music where you hear strings. So listen to classical music or movie soundtracks everywhere. Jesus, what I have today. So sorry, my voice. Okay. Yeah, so listen to music where you hear much of strings, and you can learn a lot from just listening. It's always also something that I'm doing very often. Good. So this, the next step would be then, maybe, play the phrase in a loop and try experimenting a little bit with expression until you find a shape that you like. We won't do it in that much detail in this video here because then it would take maybe hours and we don't want that. So I will go through this very quickly. We already gave it some basic shapes, so I'll start with the basic value here of expression, play it one through, and then we will already do the recording, I think. Just because we don't want to spend too much time on this. It's every time it's a demonstration now how you're doing it, and then later on when you're doing it yourself, as always, tweak it a lot and listen to it again and again and again to get it as perfect as possible. So I will go through it once and then we'll record it. Okay, so let's get started. It's not that easy. It's really not that easy, but we will do it. Oh, haha, that was really intelligent. I controlled the expression of the second violence. Of course, that you don't hear really a difference, so let's do it again with the right expression of first violence. Okay, something like this. Let's just record it. Just like so. Then let's mute the first violence and let's record the automation for the second violence. Oops, start at the beginning, of course. Let's see. I don't think that was very good. Let's listen to the whole thing and then make some adjustments. Okay, so here are the control points, and it's here turn off the grid, of course. Here I went too far down, so we have to adjust it. It always really, of course, every time it needs to be natural. So let's listen. also check back the other automation to see what you did there. And yeah, often you can somehow a little bit copy, because yeah, we want a little bit the same movement in both lines, of course, because they're actually playing the same melody, so they should be pretty much the same. Of course, the same as with the velocity thing I talked about a little while ago. Don't give it the same values here as well. We will delete it. This one's here. A little bit down, this is okay. Good. Let's listen again and see. Maybe here that was a little bit too much. Let's see. Yeah, and what you might notice also again is yeah, that maybe we have to now go back again with offsetting and yeah, redoing some slight things maybe, because now when we listen to it, it sounds a little bit, yeah, too much offset. So we listen to the phrase or the part and then see which parts are too much. And it's this part here, the few last notes. Let's bring them a little bit more to the grid, back to the grid again. Not too much, of course. Now then, of course, adjust the pitch bend accordingly, so shift it back to the spot where the notes are changing to get the jump right, to make, or get the pitch bend right. Here as well. Okay, and now let's see, here at this point the velocity was a little bit too strong, so we go to our strings and cut it here a little bit, maybe give it here a little bit more. Let's close this, go to the first ones, choose the Jesus, what's that? Velocity and adjust it a little bit and listen again and see if it's now better. And this is quite okay. Maybe we will take a look at this one here. When we now look at the graphical representation, we can see now that these notes are very, yeah, are starting at nearly the exact same time. So we will offset them here a little bit to break this a little bit up. I'm a little bit unsure about this part here. It's a little bit too much offset, I think. You can see it's very fast. You can overdo the offsetting very, very fast. So let's get back and go more to the grid again. Go more back to the grid. Adjust everything accordingly. Like so. Okay. Here as well. Make it more again into the grid. So yeah, this is again, you can see how fast you can overdo it with offsetting. Pitch bend. Okay, but then we should be nearly at the end of the tutorial. Okay, so now let's listen to everything once again and see if we can leave it like this for the moment. Hoppala, like so. Yeah, it's okay. You can see this part here at the end can cause some problems very quickly. Here I see we didn't adjust the pitch bend accordingly. It can cause very, fast some problems, because now we maybe have made it too regular again, so that it's not that nice. Yeah, so this point then really comes the tweaking part. Take a look that the transitions are better. Start tweaking and fine-tuning. But we won't do this in this video because this would take too long and would bore you a little bit, and the video is already very long, and so we can call this finished. So yeah, that's actually how you create a legato line using Symphonic Orchestra, and what you can do to make it sound much better. So quick recap. First of all, offsetting the notes to get rid of the regularity, then using the velocity control to give the melody the basic shape, then using a pitch bend, making the transitions between the different notes, especially the jumps, more organic, and then at the end using automation to give the melody its true shape. And then you would start the fine-tuning phase. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you like it, feel free, if you like the videos, to subscribe to Virtual Music Tutorials. If you want to like the Facebook page, which has the same name, Virtual Music Tutorials. As always, feedback and critique, put it in the commentary in the comment section of the video or on the Facebook page, or also write the email at vmtutorials@live.de. So Lars Eichstätt says goodbye, and hopefully I see you in the next video, and have fun composing. And of course I will then also provide the MIDI file for this legato line, so that you can use the exact line we did here. Okay, so hopefully see you in the next video. Goodbye, and have fun composing.